Books are magical. They can connect to us, soothe us, speak to us, help us discover our deepest selves. I think they're also like friends. They can give us wisdom and encouragement when we need it the most, and often at the perfect time. One book that has been a wonderful friend to me is The Art of Possibility by Rosamund Zander and Benjamin Zander. And in this book, they talk about different ways we can shape our thinking so that when we face trials and tribulations in life, we can see them as incredible opportunities full of possibility for us to learn, discover ourselves, uplift others, and achieve incredible things. Each chapter of the book explains a certain way of thinking, and I won't share them all with you because I really think you should read the book and discover which ones resonate with you the most, but I wanted to share a few of the ones that really stood out for me. The first practice is having the mindset that it is all invented. Everything we experience in life, our successes, our failures, our relationships with people, it's all invented in our minds. The authors propose that in our minds we've created a certain framework of meaning, or in other words, an outlook on life, that has certain assumptions that we use to interpret the situations we encounter. So they think if everything is invented, why not create a positive outlook on life for us to interpret the situations we encounter? An outlook that helps enhance our quality of life and uplifts others, one that puts us into a realm full of possibilities rather than thinking that we're constantly battling obstacles. This practice reminds me of one of my favorite Shakespeare quotes from Hamlet, and it goes, "Nothing is either good or bad, but thinking makes it so." With our minds, we have the power to decide if something is good or bad. But we have to remember that what we define as being good or bad depends on our own invented definition of what is good and what is bad. That being said, we need to remember that we have the power to transform the experiences we have in life by consciously deciding to see them in a certain light. Our interpretation and response to things in life is completely of our own invention, and therefore our total responsibility to control. A small anecdote that Benjamin shared in the book to illustrate this idea was that every time his music students made a mistake, he had them throw their arms up in the air and say, "How fascinating." With this practice, Benjamin is getting his students not to see their mistakes as a bad thing, but seeing them as opportunities that offered possibilities for them to learn how they can be better musicians. I absolutely adore this idea of looking back at a situation and trying to think about what is the lesson I can learn from this. If there's something that I think has gone very wrong in my life, I try to remember to take a step back and think, what can I learn from this situation so that moving forward I can do better? I think that every setback is imbued with possibilities for us to learn how we can become better versions of ourselves. The next practice that resonated with me is that of giving an A. This is the idea of highlighting the good that we see in people and bringing that to their attention. To illustrate this idea, the authors talk about how the famous artist Michelangelo believed that within a huge hunk of marble there was a beautiful statue. What one had to do was just gently chip away at all of the superfluous material to discover it. People want to be recognized for their goodness, for their gifts, and for their talents, but often they spend so much time building up superfluous material around their potential. They try to fit themselves into a mold. They constantly worry about what other people think of them or think about trivial things. They forget about this amazing potential that they have inside of themselves to share with the world. By highlighting the potential we see in others, we are giving them the incredible gift of connecting them to their true selves. We're helping to support them on their journey of becoming their best selves. A story I loved that Benjamin shared in the book was how at the beginning of the school semester, he would tell all of his students that they are going to get an A. But the only caveat was that they have to write him a letter at the beginning of the semester explaining why they would receive the A at the end. So Benjamin knew that each one of his students had the potential to be an A student, but that each student had the potential to be an A student in their own unique way. So what he had them do was define for themselves the potential that they saw within themselves to be an A student, and then just encourage them to reach that potential throughout the semester. I think that is absolutely brilliant. I love this idea of always searching for the potential good in others. I think there's no use judging people and focusing on their flaws. I think we should celebrate people. When we let people know of the goodness that we see inside of them, we're helping them bring more of that side of them to light. And somehow their flaws just seem to disappear as they focus on their goodness. One thing I recognize though is that people will not exhibit A-grade behavior all the time, and they may not be deserving of the A that we unconditionally give them, but we should still give it to them anyway. There will be times when people are mean or complacent or just plain awful, but we have to remember that they're human. We're human. We're all human. We're complicated. It's a universal truth. We all go through pains and challenges in life, and it's ultimately living with these pains and challenges that shape our behavior. So in moments when people are exhibiting less than A-grade behavior, we have to remember to be patient, kind, and gentle with them and not take their behavior personally. We have to remember that there's probably something going on in their lives that we're not aware of, or we might not be able to fully, deeply understand. So we should still give them an A because it might be this small bit of encouragement that helps them overcome their pains and challenges. It may even help them reinvent how they see their situation so that they can enable themselves to be the best person that they can be. Alrighty, now this last practice I think is particularly eye-opening. Rather than asking yourself the questions, am I pretty enough? Am I smart enough? Did I do enough? Ask yourself the question, how am I going to be a contribution today? We all want to feel like we're making a difference and that we matter. And we all want to accomplish great things. And we often have these standards that we use to measure our efforts up against to determine if we are good enough. But when we see ourselves as contributions to the world, we're not comparing ourselves and what we do to others. We're recognizing that we have something of value to offer the world, and that this offering can make a meaningful difference, no matter how big or how small. By holding a door open for a stranger, you have made a contribution. By telling your friends and family that you love them, you've made a contribution. Even by complimenting someone, saying that they absolutely shine when they smile, you are making a contribution. Beginning the day asking yourself, how am I going to be a contribution today? Sounds like the start of a wonderful day to me. And there we have it. Those are the nuggets of wisdom that I have gained from the art of possibility. So remember, because it's all invented, invent a positive outlook on life that enhances your quality of life and also helps to uplift others. Give everyone around you an A. Rather than judging and criticizing people, recognize them for their humanity and highlight the goodness that you see inside of them. And lastly, every day, think about how you can make a meaningful contribution to the world. I hope what I've shared has resonated with you in some way and inspires you to read the book. May you find in it wisdom to live with the joy of knowing that your life is full of wonderful possibilities. Thank you for watching this video, and until next time, I wish you joy and Juby.